Training organisations across our region are worried about a possible shortfall in their funding for next year. The Learning and Skills Council has issued preliminary budgets for apprenticeship places, and one company in Aylesbury is now facing a £1 million cut. Laura Lyon reports.
If the £1 million gap in the indicative budgets given to ATG training in Aylesbury become a reality, the company says it will have to reroute funds to avoid cutting the number of apprenticeships for the over-19s. 21-year-old Ben Moore's an ICT technician, but trains here 1 day a week.
There's not much out there at the moment. Most of my mates are at university, but they've got the debts and I haven't, but I've got more hands-on experience than they do. So I think it's better for me, it's been better than going to university.
The Learning and Skills Council, which is in charge of handing out government money, is changing its priorities for training because of the recession. Instead of concentrating on those in work, it wants to help more young people find a job.
Retraining is a particularly important aspect for people who've been made redundant. And we're not going to be able to offer over 19-year-olds the level of apprenticeships that we've been able to do in the past.
But it's not just the specialist organisations which are affected. Aylesbury College is facing cuts to its budget for over 19-year-old apprenticeships of about 30%. At Abingdon and Witney College, this year's budget of £19,000 is looking like being cut to just over £8,000.
And here at the Oxford and Cherwell Valley College, the proposed cut in funding is also more than 30%. That means the college can only guarantee that current apprentices will be able to finish their training next year. As yet, it's unclear what the situation will be for those who are over 19 and hoping to take up an apprenticeship in September.
The LSC says the demand for adult apprentice schemes next year outweighs their budget. Changes are still being made. Laura Lyon, BBC Oxford News.
Marinos Pafitis is the Regional Director for the Learning Skills Council in the South East. I spoke to him earlier and asked why funding for some apprentices appears to be being cut.
It appears that it's been cut because we've been phenomenally successful in recruiting new adult apprentices and people into Train to Gain. And as a result of our success, which has been beyond our wildest expectations, 300% growth, what we've had to do is to ensure there's enough money in the system next year to fund all those people who have started their programmes. And so there will be less new money for starts, but it will be exactly the same amount of money for the programmes.
But that means that some people will be missing out inevitably, doesn't it?
But those people may have started this month, last month, and if we'd had a steadier state of starts, if we hadn't had such a bulge in starts over the last 3 or 4 months, then there would have been more starts for next year. I think what I can guarantee is that every young person and everybody aged 19 to 24 who wants an apprenticeship place will get one, and there will be lots of training money for those over 25 as well, through Train to Gain and also through apprenticeships.
But the people over 24, so the 25 upwards, they're the people who are at most at risk of not getting the training that they're after.
Absolutely, and what we've got is at least 35,000 new starts in the South East for those people through Train to Gain in 09-10.
Do you think that the colleges have been panicking unnecessarily?
No, they haven't. I do understand where they're coming from. The phenomenal success that they've had, and we've been really grateful to them for how well they've done, means that we've had to really take a very hard look at how much money has been used in this current year and make sure that we have enough resources to give them for finishing off those learners into next year. Therefore, we haven't been able to give them definite figures until, probably over the next week or two when we can finalise budgets.
But they've seen some figures. You can understand why, when they've seen the figures, that could make them very nervous.
Absolutely, and what I would always say to any of them is that they just need to talk to us about that, because we are working very hard to ensure that we resolve things, and there will be, as I said, as much money next year as there has been this year.
Marinos Pafitis, thank you.